Well.
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 All together now.
Well!
Loud.
Yeah. Was a little bit. Sorry, lovely listeners.
So here we are then. Do you want to do the starty bit or shall I do the starty bit?
We could both do the starty bit. Stick the crankshaft in. Turn
Hang
it up to 11. Oh, we're doing well. That was pretty good.
Thank you. That was a Frithcast starting up.
Was a Frithcast starting up?
Apparently, yes.
Welcome, lovely listeners,
Welcome.
to Frithcast number 27.
27.
27.
The 27th. That's actually 20 below the magic number that always appears in Alias and Star Trek.
Right.
I was just looking for number significance, that's all.
Okay.
I'm not a scientist. I couldn't give you proper number significance. I couldn't, is it a tangential, irrelevant number or whatever? Imaginary, salient, prime, what's it? I don't know these things.
I think most numbers are irrelevant to me. I didn't do so well at maths, to be fair. Oh dear. Welcome to episode 27. I'm Suzanne. I'm one of the UK ambassadors for TAC, which is the Asatru community.
And I'm Kate, and I'm getting used to announcing myself as a druid who happens to live here.
Yes, druidy thing.
A sort of a druidy thing.
Coffee-powered druid.
Coffee-powered druid. Got me coffee. I'm
Got
happy.
coffee. Okay. So, the last episode, we had a chat about tricksters. We talked tricksters for about half an hour.
I remember it well.
We did. So, this episode, being that it's episode 27, which is a multiple of 9... See, I can do this maths thing.
You can do maths. You see, you sell yourself short.
Well, let's just say that this episode is story time.
Yay.
So, settle in, pull up a log, get your knees nice and warm, grab a bun, grab a drink, do your thing, settle back, because this episode is story time. We talked tricksters the last episode, so we thought we'd follow it with this episode with a bit of a reimagining of Loki's Flyting.
Okay.
Mwahaha.
That sounds like interesting
Yes,
and slightly scary.
possibly that too. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Flyting, of which there may be a few round the campfire,
There may indeed.
this is a story in the myth cycle in which there's a party at Aegir's house, and all the gods are there, and Loki comes in and basically insults the heck out of everybody.
He is feeling tetchy, I think.
Very, very tetchy.
It's fair to say at this point he is at a tetchy point in the sequence.
This is quite late on in the myth cycle, so this is after the death of Baldur, which Loki has been fairly responsible for in a big way. So now in the Flyting, in the original, it's pairs of lines, with Loki getting an insult in a pair of lines, and then the respondent getting to have an answer, and then Loki moving on to the next.
Couplets.
Couplets, yes. So we've kind of taken that structure a little bit and not in how we do this.
Well,
we're going to do this in the Flyting.
Just going to tell you the story.
We're just going to tell you the story. Now, this story is quite strange in the fact that it references some very, very well-known events, some events that we know very well from the myth cycle, but it references some events that we don't know and we have no other record of.
It's a bit of a funny one like this.
Yeah, a little bit strange. So there's been a wee bit of discussion on why this may be so. Why things like Njord being exchanged as a hostage, we know that one. That happens right at the beginning, just after the Aesir-Vanir war.
So he's...
Slight scuffle.
Am I right? He's Vanir, who is sent to live in Asgard
Yes,
with the Aesir
that's right.
in order to help keep the peace.
Yes.
A little bit like Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, maybe not ending quite that way, but yes, he's not.
But the principle.
The principle is essentially that you swap valuable hostages. The Vanir get a bit of a raw deal in the ones that they get given, and it doesn't. Yeah, there's an accidental decapitation. But no, moving on.
Hang on.
No, moving on, please. No,
It's Norse myth. They don't decapitate accidentally. They do it enthusiastically.
you're all right. There's an enthusiastic accidental decapitation. Is that better? Okay. So there are some stories in the Flyting, like Njord being exchanged as a hostage from the Vanir to go and live in Asgard with the Aesir to keep the peace after the war. But there are some stories that get referenced in this sort of battle of insults. It's a fairly one-sided battle of insults because Loki gets all the good lines. There are some stories that get referenced that we don't know. And we don't have any other record of aside from what's in the Flyting.
Do you want to give examples now, or shall we talk about the examples afterwards?
Well, there's one example where Loki decides it's a good idea to insult the Allfather.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have been top on my best moves for the day,
No.
but he does.
On the other hand, you're not a god.
No, I'm so not, which is the other reason I probably wouldn't march up to the high seat and tell the Allfather he had a pimple right where he didn't want one. It's never going to be a, short life expectancy after that. But Odin tells Loki, well, at least I didn't spend 8 months as a milkmaid and raise a family.
Yes.
And that instance, that story, is something we know nothing about apart from that little fleeting mention in the Flyting. Now, there are two sort of explanations for this
Phenomenon.
Na.
Phenomenon.
Na. Got distracted.
Phenomenon.
Must not get distracted.
I was going to say
distracted.
we're stopping now, but it doesn't have a stop.
No, it does not have a stop. Just kind of carries on. It's like the Doom song. It doesn't stop.
I'm going to sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doom. And then what is it like
6 months later?
6 months later.
It's like, doom, doom. Ooh, what's that?
Grr, please.
Stop singing, girl, please. So, there are two...
I miss my cupcake.
You take it out, make room for the tuna.
Please go on.
That was my train of thought. It derailed at speed.
The train of thought now arriving at platform 3.
It's delayed.
Oh dear.
Okay. Oh, what was I?
Hello, listeners.
Yes. So, there are two general understandings as to why we've got some myths we know and some myths we don't know, both referred to in the Flyting. There is either the understanding that at one point all of these things were in the canon, were in the myth cycle, and we've just lost parts of it. And we don't have those pieces anymore, they're missing.
Which is not unimaginable.
Really not unimaginable for, documents that are 10th, 11th century, 13th century. There's going to be occasional bits missing. So one scholarly school of thought is that we've got bits missing.
Okay.
And that one time all of these tales would have been known from a single line.
Yeah.
You would say, well, at least I wasn't exchanged as a hostage in Njord, at which point your brain would say, oh yes, I remember that whole tale of where that's come from, but it's only in that one little sentence.
Yeah.
So we've got the sentence, we just don't have the tale behind it. The other scholarly school of thought is that Loki is creating insults on the spot to throw at the gods and goddesses and everybody else pretty much in the hall to suit his purpose.
But,
you see, there is a bit of a but, because, yes, I could understand that might be very well much within his character. But
because that's going to keep people off guard, isn't it? If he comes at it with enough gusto, he comes at it with enough confidence and says, "Well, that time you did such a thing," it is going to throw you off balance just for a second or two while you go, "Hang on, that never happened. What?"
And even if you're going, "Hang on a minute, that never happened," everybody around you is going, "You didn't do that, did you?"
Yeah.
And it puts that seed of doubt. So I could understand very much his motivation at this point in the myth cycle is to sow distrust.
Yeah. He's
trying to split the gods. He's trying to fragment that fellowship that they have firm between them.
Create disorder.
So I can very much understand that would suit his purpose. But he's not the only one who references stories that we don't have.
Yeah.
In that example of the milkmaid story, where Loki spends 8 months as a milkmaid and raises a family and does all the servile tasks, it's the Allfather who says to him, "At least I didn't spend 8 months as a milkmaid."
Yeah.
And yes, the Allfather plays the long game, but there's not a stronger motivation for him to reference something which is not accurate.
He doesn't have quite the same motivations that Loki has in terms of, you know, at this point, he's not going to gain a great deal from trying to throw Loki off balance just for a moment or two.
No.
As much as you say, the advantage that Loki has is that other people are listening.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm still thinking about this one and still trying to work it out for myself. And it's okay not to know the answers, and it's okay to sit and ponder it and turn it over and think, well, you know, I've got to factor in these things, so how do I understand the relationships between these gods and goddesses better?
Yeah.
Can I understand it better from the information that's in the Flyting? So,
tell you the story.
We're going to tell you a story, which is Lokis Flyting.
Indeed.
As always, we'll put some links into the description so you can go and have a zoom about for yourselves.
Read up on some of the
fabulous insults.
The events.
We might have reimagined some of these insults for the modern age.
Yeah, I mean, I for one, being such a kindly and considerate
Gentle
person, gentle soul. I'm not very good at making up insults.
No, we've had a go.
Even given time, so I'm afraid we've nicked quite a lot of them.
We haven't nicked all of them.
all right, we've borrowed them under fair use.
We may have referenced some beautifully classic Queens of Shade. Let's put it that way. So, lovely listeners, settle in, warm your knees, grab your beer or your coffee, whatever's good, and let us tell you Lokis Flyting.
This tale begins in Aegir's halls, where the gods had gathered for a feast. They aimed for fair conversation and frith at the tables, and so had not invited Loki to join them. The Lord of Satire was incensed when he discovered that they had gathered without him, and so resolved to join them anyway and give each one a gift of a mirror of words, so all could see the true character of those around them.
As he entered the hall, the Lord of Misrule vowed to pay them back for the insult they had inflicted. I don't mean to miss this feast. I'll fill their hearts with hatred and grief, mix venom with their mead, until they find they have no stomach for the truth. Great friends, high ones all, I see you have all gathered here. My invite must have been mislaid. I'll join you all in a drink at the benches. And he squeezed onto the end of a bench and looked around. I'm mighty parched. Fine mead for me. Who's to have the honour of pouring mine? The gods as one answered through the silence.
We refuse. You are not welcome here. Take your thin smiles and go.
Loki turned to face Odin. All-Father, I remember your oath, even if you don't. You swore then that you would only drink if a drink were brought to us both.
Odin turned to the servers. A drink for my sworn brother.
I'm glad that's sorted out. I shall sit here then. Greetings all, Odin Allfather, Frigga Queen, Freya, Tyr. I greet all in friendship, save for Bragi, wherever he is.
Peace, Loki, said Bragi. I can offer you fine things if you would but keep it. An arm ring, a fine horse, they are but yours.
Is that you? Bragi, the bench ornament? I can hardly see you peeking out from under the table at the first loud noise. Still, you must be used to being under there by now.
You maggot-breathed louse! I'll kick you all the way to Midgard.
And yet heroes don't waste words. You're whining like a kicked cow. Look, your wife stands to defend you. How sweet.
Listen to him not, my love, said Eden. Let it go. It's just words. That's right, Bragi dear. Chin up.
Be sure to get both of them, Bragi. And you, Idun, you're no better. You could have picked a better husband than this coward. Still, I suppose I should accept anything from someone who slept with the murderer of her brother. Ah, good Gefjon, come to fill my cup, have you?
Gefjon addressed the hall. All listen! We know that Loki revels in foul mockery. Let him be, and we can carry on.
Just as you carried on with the first youth to cross your path, Gefjon, a low gift was all it took for you to roll in the hay. Allfather, you must be here to give me more mead. All this talking is thirsty work.
Only to say that you must be mad to insult Gefjon, said Odin. She sees the long game as well as I.
Speaking of which, I've known times that you've let the weaker man win in battle. Such a shame that the Einherjar won't be as strong as they could have been but for your judgment.
That is true, but it's no worse than you spending 8 months as a Midgard milkmaid.
Which, please? In those shoes? Who dressed you, the 560s? Frigg, Queen of Asgard, something to say?
I ask, said Frigg, that you all keep to peace in this hall. You see, we are all kin. We have no quarrels that cannot be talked through.
I think that you don't see clear enough. You can't see the difference between your vowed husband and his 2 brothers in the bedroom. Maybe you need glasses. It's not unheard of at your age.
If my son Baldur were here, you would not be trading insults long.
Well, he's not. He's with my daughter Hel, keeping her company. Isn't it a father's duty to help introduce good men to his daughter? Shame I had to encompass his end into the bargain.
Foolish one! I, Freya, name you ill news. Think you not that Frigg already knows this?
Oh, Freya, I don't like to tell you, dear, but you've got wrinkles in your dress. Or is that your skin?
How dare you, trickster! My body is a temple.
Oh, you're right, Freya. It's glittering, it's awe-inspiring, and it's open to everyone, day or night.
Loki, your mouth is full of lies.
Well, Freya, nobody ever believes me when I'm telling the truth. It's the curse of every devastatingly beautiful person. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? You're so close to your brother. Tell me, does he know that you fart in bed? Oh, my mistake. Of course he does.
Njord stood. I speak as the father of Freya. It matters not whom a woman shares her bed with. It is her choice alone.
You, Njord, you were bartered away like a cold fish at a market as hostage. What could be more undignified? Oh, wait. Wasn't there something about Hymir's daughters and a golden shower?
It was an honour to be exchanged to keep Frith in these halls. Here I have fathered a fine son.
Shame that the woman closest to you is the woman closest to you. Something to add, Tyr?
I speak of Frey now, said Tyr, and I tell you that he is the noblest amongst us. He does not deserve your scorn. None of us do.
Tyr, you can't solve problems one-handed, or do other things for that matter. Pity that you willingly lost the only girlfriend you'll ever have.
I lost a hand for the good of all, and knew what it would cost. You lost your wolf son in the same deal.
Oh, Tyr, did you know that your wife had my son? And yet I paid you no recompense, nor moment's thought. Disaster, darling.
We gods will bind you, Loki. I, Frey, son of Njord, swear it.
You swear it? You swear it? From you an oath means nothing. You traded your rune sword for mooncalf love, a noble thing indeed. Pity that when the war comes you'll face Muspelheim's sons empty-handed. Your servant Barley stands now to speak for you. Impotent indeed.
I, Barley, wish I were noble born. I would beat you where you stand for your comments.
Oh, barely Barley, so sad that you will forever a servant remain. Sashay away. Yes, Heimdall, something you want to say?
Go home, Loki. You're drunk. No one in his cups cares about curbing his tongue.
Heimdall, the great watcher, tell me, is it really that interesting watching everyone else getting it when you don't get to have any? Your balls must be bluer than a frozen lump of whale meat. Mountain goddess Scarthy, why so growlery? Your looks will set like that. Oh, too late.
Scarthy scowled. The gods will bind you down, son of Laufey. I warn you again.
Did you know that they're mounting an expedition in Midgard to climb your north face? The worlds were rid of your father Tharzi at my doing.
If that is true, my hall and my temples will always echo with curses on your name.
Such frosty manners in one so young. You were warmer spoken when you invited me to share your bed. Sif, wife of Thor, why do you stand?
Why don't you sit and have a drink, Loki? Talk with your friends. Surely you can't find fault with me.
Oh, honey, I can read you like a runestone. Does everyone here know that even you weren't immune to my bedroom charms? They don't call me silver-tongued for nothing. Tell me, did you eventually find your underwear again? Oh, Baylor, step away from the doors, dear. People will think you're touting for business.
Baylor, the loyal servant of Frey, spoke to him. Loki, you're in trouble now. I see Thor coming, everyone. He'll help us sort this out.
You think I can't handle him? Bring the shade. Jealousy is a terrible thing, Baylor, and so are you in anything backless. Greetings, Thor, you hunk.
Time to leave, Loki. Mjolnir will play hard on your bones if you don't leave us all alone.
Well, aren't you just a brute, blustering bully, Thor? It's sweet that your hammer speaks for you. Such a shame that you can't use words at your age.
Loki, I warn you a second time, I can smash your skull like an egg.
An egg? You'd be afraid of what came out of a chicken's backside just the same.
Silver-tongued scoundrel, leave this gathering and head home in shame.
Your strength is so legendary. You couldn't even undo a simple knot on a bag of food, and you had to go hungry.
Wildfire, I jest no more. I will send you right down to the doors of the dead. Leave, Loki.
Oh, Thor, Odin, Tyr, Freya, Frigga. Well, girlfriends, it's been fun. So glad we could have this little chat. I've shown you all the sharp edges of my thoughts, but only because of Thor am I leaving. Bye, sweeties. Stay fabulous.
The sharp one turned and was gone, his words echoing.
In silence the gods sat, and in silence they stood and left the hall. So thank you for listening with us, lovely listeners. We hope you've enjoyed our retelling of Loki's Flyting, and that at least some of our jokes were on point.
That I don't know about.
No, I don't know about either. I'm really hoping they're okay now.
Well.
So I've been Suzanne. I'm one of the UK ambassadors for TAC. You can find me on Facebook as Suzanne Martin or on Twitter at Suzanne TAC, T-A-C.
And I'm still Kate, and if you want to contact me, you can visit my sorry excuse for a website at glassrain.net. Leave me a comment if you like.
So any comments, questions, queries about Frithcast, you're welcome to send them our way. Send us a friend request, say hi, it's all good. And we will talk to you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.